From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Have you ever been to the peanut capital of the world? We'll take you there today as we continue our tour of the Ag States of America. What's it like moving grain in and out of the Black Sea right now?
Everything is safe.
Travel aboard a grain ship as it moves through difficult waters. And corn sinks below $5.
I think it's going to take quite a story to attract them back into agriculture right now.
So is the grain rally really over? The answer right now on AgDay. Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. For the first time in nearly 2 years, December corn traded below $5 and November soybeans dipped below $12. Amid higher input costs, farmers may be wondering how long the price drop will last. AgDay's Michelle Rook joins us. And Michelle, a lot is weighing on the market right now.
The rally in the grain markets the last 2 years has been fueled by many factors, including production issues around the globe, the Black Sea war, and global economic concerns tied to inflation. So is this a major commodity reset or just a pullback in an otherwise bigger commodity supercycle? I talked to market experts to find out. Grain prices hit some historical highs in 2022, and old crop stocks remain tight in the U.S. and globally. But the market is now transitioning to much larger new crop supplies.
The funds, I think, have a mentality going back to this most recent USDA crop report that carryout's building. We're going to hit 181.5 bushel national average yield in corn and 52 on beans. We're transitioning to El Nino, and that means we're going to have perfect weather. And there's no risk premium in the market right now.
Besides higher production, the other change moving into the 2023 crop season is the funds have moved out of commodities.
Now, with a fiscal policy that says we're going to create an environment where we can deflate values, they are selling. So yes, I think that the funds are going to move into other investments. I think it's going to take quite a story to attract them back into agriculture right now.
But does the reset in grain prices mean the bull market is over? Some analysts say it's just part of the typical super cycle pattern.
If you study all major bull markets in commodities and agriculture, they typically follow a 12-year cycle from start to finish. You initially get a 2-year rally up, which we did from 2020 mid-year to 2022 kind of mid-year. And then you typically have a 1.5-year correction, demand destruction, some supply improves.
So the current commodity reset is just the first wave of a longer-term bull market. I'm Michelle Rook reporting for AgDay.
All right, thanks, Michelle. The annual wheat tour has wrapped up, and in Kansas, producers may end up seeing their smallest wheat crop since 1963. Day 2 of the tour, traveling from Colby to Wichita, Kansas. Wheat tour officials saying scouts made 276 stops at fields across western, central, and southern Kansas and into northern counties of Oklahoma. Scouts reporting the wheat in southwest Kansas looked rough with intense drought conditions, poor stands, and some freeze damage. They calculate the yield at 27.5 bushels per acre. But that's only for fields that will make it to harvest. And they report seeing a large number of abandoned fields. The Oklahoma Wheat Commission reporting the state's production estimate numbers of 49.9 million bushels with 2.2 million acres of wheat harvested out of 4.6 million acres planted. It has a yield estimate of 23 bushels per acre. Record warm temperatures are focusing in on the west and Pacific Northwest. Meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht joins us with an update. Matt.
Yeah, Clinton, it's one thing to talk about daily record highs falling, but the pattern that we are seeing, this is May 21st, 25th through the 31st, so going through Memorial Day weekend, that pattern of the extreme heat really doesn't shift all that much, and we're seeing just a lot of ridging across the United States, and when we hear that, as we've talked about before, that means warmer than average temperatures and the likelihood of big systems bringing a lot of rainfall to a lot of locations. Those opportunities opportunities remain very low. Update on the drought monitor and see we're back into the extreme, if not exceptional, for portions of the United States. That also includes some of our Gulf Coast states into Florida. With there, they are seeing a moderate, if not exceptional, drought as well. Here's a look at a picture coming in from Chet. This is in South Dakota. Again, temperatures in those areas are well above average, and it continues to be that case. Now, planting is continuing. Chad again sending this one in from South Dakota, updating us. He says that after a nice rain, they are back to planting. He said this field saw a bit of rain over the weekend and the seedbed was awesome for planting. He says their sunflowers should get off to a good start. That's what we got there. I'll start talking more about that next. A couple of week forecast, precipitation and rain and temperatures coming up in just a bit.
As of Thursday, the Black Sea Grain Corridor had not resumed operations, even as the deal is extended for 2 more months. That news announced Wednesday. Reuters says more than 60 ships sit ready for inspectors to board. Becky Anderson is in Istanbul and recently traveled with international inspectors aboard a Ukrainian grain shipment.
An unassuming looking port in Istanbul with global significance. It's from here that inspection teams from Russia, Ukraine, the UN and Turkey deploy to vessels anchored offshore.
The ship that will be boarding is anchored in the Marmara Sea. It left Chornomorsk port in Ukraine on May the 12th, carrying about 26,000 tons of wheat. And it is one of the last vessels to transit under the current terms of the Black Sea grain deal.
So these are the passports of the crew? And the crew is ready for a check phase.
Also on the checklist, the shipment itself. In this case, over 26,000 tons of wheat. To get here, Mohammed and his crew had to navigate through what is very much a live conflict zone.
But this is safe. I contact with control, Chornomorsk control and Odessa control in this area.
Got it.
Everything is safe. I contact for in the corridor. When in the corridor, okay, no have any problem. I send only to GCC, 88 to Istanbul. When 88 to Istanbul, everything is okay.
Since the beginning of this deal, some 1,800 ships have done this route and been inspected. That's some 30 million tons of foodstuffs, feeding more than 150 million people, and perhaps as importantly, bringing the price of food globally down by some 20%.
The work of these inspectors now goes on after Turkey's president announced an extension of the deal, meaning for at least another 2 months, the world can breathe a sigh of relief. Becky Anderson, Marmara Sea, CNN.
As we mentioned, grains were under pressure again on Thursday. Up next, we'll take a look at what to watch in today's markets now. And later, we'll take a tour of agricultural production in Alabama. Social media funny man Charlie Barons shares the ag states of America today in the country. Weak export sales and pressure from outside markets continue to push grains down during the trading day Thursday. Michelle Rook is back with a deeper dive in markets now.
Well, grains were mostly lower on Thursday. Mark Schultz, North Star Commodity, is joining us. And I know funds have really kind of hit the sell button here. And, you know, when is it going to stop, Mark? When's the bleeding going to end?
Well, I would say obviously it's going to have to be something that the weather pattern changes, because we're certainly not seeing it coming on the demand side in here. Now, you've had quite a sell-off here just in the last 11 days on the beans. You've had quite the sell-off in the last 21 days on the corn market. So you might get something. You know, Thursday's performance was not all the greatest, and it keeps going. But here on Friday, maybe you might get some short unwinding or short covering taking place in here. So maybe you start to stabilize a little bit. But overall, after Thursday's poor performance in the export sales, where he went negative in the corn, he went negative or almost negative in the beans, and the wheat was pretty anemic as well. It's hard to get something that's on the bull side. So you got to go to the weather, and there really is not much there either. You do have some dryness that's in Brazil. you'd have to watch. That would have to be a blowing forecast and go stay dry. And then you watch your southern plains, or there's rain in the forecast. You may have to miss that. That might get you something to at least start.
Okay.
So maybe Friday here we'll have something at least stop the selling and maybe see a little bit of short covering.
So no bullish story on the supply or the demand side. We've done some technical damage though here. Long-term support areas taken out. So how much, technical damage did we do, and what are you watching next for support areas?
Yeah, the thing you always watch when you have into major support areas and then take it out, not only did you take it out and you accelerate it to the downside. Those are always negative ones. The ones you like to have is when you break new lows and you turn around and close higher. That keeps you a little bit more optimistic. That did not happen this time. And you not only accelerated the day that you took it out on the corn at $5.70 and the beans at $13.80, you continue to fall the previous 2 days as well. So the selling, like I say, feels like it's drying up just a little bit here on Thursday. So I'm hoping that maybe today we'll see something that gets just a little bit more positive on here. Downside, we actually did hit what I would saw on a technical side, D's corn potential equal leg down. So maybe something there that you can give. But again, there's not enough buyers around here, and there's still more liquidation to get out of the way.
Yeah, and funds are short in the corn and keep pushing. All right, thanks for joining us, Mark Schultz with North Star Commodity, and we'll have more Ag Day coming up.
Your next piece of equipment is on machinerypete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on machinerypete.com.
Well, going all the way back to earlier this week, it was a clipper system that we were talking about riding right along the Canadian-United States border. This is the end of it, or at least all the moisture that's coming out of it. A line of showers tracking off to the east, maybe a few thunderstorms rolling through Tennessee Friday night into early Saturday morning, trying to pick up a little bit more moisture, but without the Gulf in play, really tough to squeeze a lot of rainfall out of that system. In its wake, we're back to a ridge of high pressure, clean, clear real estate, and also hot conditions back up here into the northwest and Canada into this weekend and next week. So I forward this into Saturday night at 7 p.m. You got some cloud cover, but not much in terms of cloud cover or rain. Expect those temperatures to build the next couple of days on top of the above average highs that we're already experiencing. That precipitation outlook between the 25th and the 31st, this pattern hasn't shifted all that much. We got the chance of some, I'd say, wetter than normal conditions, but the legend, we're way over here more towards normal. So scattered showers will be possible, but in the big system territory, just not in the cards with this kind of pattern that we're seeing. And we stay dry back up into the Midwest and the Northeast. Again, that's looking at precipitation into Memorial Day weekend. And again, this is just something that you typically see when that jet stream doesn't fall down to the south. The jet stream, that ribbon of fast moving air, typically separates the cold from the warm. Well, if that jet stream is pushed back up here to the north with not a lot of fluctuations in it, your heat starts to build as that ridge continues to build back along and south of where that jet stream is located. And south of that jet stream is most of the United States. The wind gust forecast for your Friday. So again, still windy in the wake of that clipper system back to the Dakotas. Things start to weaken into Saturday, and it turns out to be a very tranquil and pleasant weekend across the nation with very low severe weather threat. Let's check out Buffalo, Wyoming. Sunny, high around 69 degrees, low of 50. Chickasha, Oklahoma, thunderstorms possible, high around 75 degrees, low 55. Newcastle, 74 degrees. Pennsylvania, low about 56 degrees.
Rural bankers are more optimistic about the rural economy than they've been in a year. The Creighton University Rural Main Street Index climbed above growth neutral to 55.8, its highest reading since May 2022, and up 5 points from last month. Now, they also say farmland prices continue to rise, up another 4% over the past year. That said, on average, bankers now expect land prices to stagnate going into the next year. There's also concern about bank solvency. For the second straight month, checking deposits decreased, falling to record lows. RMI author Ernie Goss says between 2008 and 2009, the The region lost more than 40% of its banks through mergers and insolvencies. How much are you spending on automation on your farm? Well, a new survey estimates that some are spending as much as $500,000 a year. Now, that's according to the Specialty Crop Automation Report. It was commissioned by Western growers. That report also says 70% of the growers participating said they had invested in automation last year. Most of the progress going toward automation was made in weeding and harvest assistance, which helps to alleviate key challenges, including the labor shortage in ag. Alabama grows more than good football teams. They produce a lot of agricultural products. We'll get a tour next. And if you're a livestock producer, get your phone out and scan the QR code on your screen right now. Zoetis and Farm Journal want to recognize you and what you do for your communities. The Zoetis Freedom Recognition Sweepstakes by Farm Journal runs through next Saturday. Register to win a special edition golf bag or the grand prize, an amazing American flag wall display that we will be giving away on air. That QR code you're scanning will take you to the sweepstakes entry form to enter for your chance to win.
In the Country on Ag Day is brought to you by Pivot Bio. What if you had the nitrogen you need already on seed? Pivot Bio is the first company to apply nitrogen on seed. The nitrogen you need, now on seed, from Pivot Bio. Learn more at pivotbio.com.
What grows in Alabama? Well, a whole lot if you ask Charlie Behrens. He joins us with another edition of the Ag States of America.
Now today we're looking at the state of Alabama. Popular for college football, Gulf Shores, muscle shows, home to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, and of course, the peanut capital of the world in Dothan. Seriously, if you buy a jar of roasted peanuts or peanut butter, chances are it came from Dothan. Alabama's peanut farmers rank third in the nation for peanut growing, but the Dothan area is responsible for the majority of all peanut production in the U.S. Every fall, the town celebrates this achievement with the National Peanut Festival, where they crown the new Miss National Peanut. It's even believed that Mr. Peanut has a summer home in Dothan, but have not confirmed that yet. Now, Alabama is often referred to as the Cotton State because cotton is indigenous to the Gulf Coast area and it has the longest history as a farmable crop in the state. Most of the cotton grown in Alabama and the U.S. is called upland cotton. It's used in everything from plastics and papers to diapers and t-shirts. Today, Alabama ranks in the top 10 among cotton growing states, and within the state, cotton remains the most popular row crop with more acreage than corn, soybeans, peanuts, and wheat. That is a whole lot of cotton. Cotton is not only a great cash crop for farmers, but it's also relatively drought tolerant and ideal for rotation with other crops such as peanuts and soybeans. Overall, agriculture is one of Alabama's top industries, with at least 1 out of every 5 jobs being ag-related and contributing over $70 billion to the state's economy. Alabama's largest farming sector by far is poultry, or chickens, and more specifically, broilers. Alabama raises eggs too, but over the past 40 years, the majority of the nation's egg production has moved to the Midwestern states like Iowa. Broilers, on the other hand, which are chickens raised to eat, have been a primary focus of Alabama for nearly 100 years and has continued to flourish. Today, Alabama is the second leading state in total production of broilers, raising more than 1.2 billion birds each year. So I hope you appreciated all those nuggets of information. It's safe to say chicken has a tender spot in Alabama's heart. All right, poultry in Alabama makes up over 65% of all annual farming revenue in the state and employs more than 86,000 people across the industry. And that's great because we eat a lot of chicken. In fact, on average, each American consumes approximately 93 pounds of chicken meat and more than 267 eggs each year. In addition to chickens, Alabama farmers raise a fair share of cattle and fish, more professionally referred to as aquaculture or aqua farming. Today, Alabama has over 150 aqua farms that grow everything from tilapia to trout and bass, catfish, and of course, let's not forget flounder. And not to drown you with the details, but Alabama has an ideal climate for aquaculture, and farmers began embracing it in the 1960s as the technology became more accessible. In 2020, Alabama produced 1/3 of all U.S. raised farm catfish. And after hearing all that, I think it is safe to say the Alabama aqua farming industry is going swimmingly.
All right, thanks, Charlie. And you can watch more of these state-by-state features over at pivotbio.com/originals. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
Closed captioning on AgDay is brought to you by BASF, helping you do the biggest job on Earth.